Namaskaram. You see, words are like fire. They can warm a soul or burn a bridge. They can uplift or they can destroy. But tell me, have you ever seen someone arguing with a wall? No? Then why do we argue with people who have no ears to listen and no heart to understand? There comes a time when silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Some people, no matter how much you explain, how much you argue, how much you try to change them, they will remain exactly as they are. Then why waste your breath? Why waste your peace? So today, let's talk about this. Let's talk about why you should not waste your words on people who deserve your silence. 1. Words are precious. Don't throw pearls in the mud. If you had a diamond, would you throw it into the garbage? No. But our words, our thoughts, our emotions are more valuable than diamonds. Yet we waste them on people who have no respect for them. There is an old saying, never wrestle with pigs. You will both get dirty, but the pig will enjoy it. Some people, no matter how much you speak, how much you explain, they will not change. They will only drain you. So the question is, are you here to explain yourself to fools, or are you here to live your life? Two go silence can say what words cannot. Have you ever noticed sometimes when you stop speaking, people start listening? When a person is talking, trying to argue, trying to provoke you, just stop, no reaction, no words, and suddenly their power over you is gone. Silence is not weakness, silence is strength. It makes people uncomfortable because they cannot control it. 3. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Imagine you invite someone to your home and they throw dirt inside. Will you invite them again? But when people disrespect us, manipulate us, lie to us, we still allow them into our mind, into our emotions. Why? You need to understand, not everyone deserves access to your energy. Some people, the more you talk to them, the more they drain you. Silence is how you protect your peace. 4. They are unnotable. Some battles are won by walking away. A wise warrior does not fight every battle. Some fights are like wrestling with shadows, pointless. When people insult you, provoke you, challenge you, ask yourself, do I really need to respond? Or will my silence be more powerful? You see, when you argue with a fool, an outsider will not know who the fool is. So let them talk, let them shout, let them create noise. You remain silent. That is real power. 5. Energy is limited. Spend it wisely. Imagine you wake up with 100% energy in a day. Now, every argument, every unnecessary conversation, every explanation takes a percentage of it. By the end of the day, you are empty, tired, exhausted, drained, and for what? To prove a point to someone who never wanted to understand? You have to decide, do you want to use your energy to build yourself, or do you want to waste it on people who only take 6% is the best answer to a fool. There is a beautiful proverb, an intelligent man stays silent when a fool speaks. Why? Because a fool does not speak to understand, he speaks to argue. You don't have to answer every accusation, you don't have to defend every opinion. Let your silence be your answer. A lion does not respond to the barking of dogs, he simply walks on. 7. Peace is more valuable than being right. Tell me, what is more important, peace or proving a point? So many people waste their whole lives arguing, explaining, trying to prove themselves. But the truth is, it does not matter. Opinions are like the wind, always changing. People will say one thing today, another thing tomorrow. If you live for their approval, you will die with their criticism. So stop, let people think what they want. You remain peaceful. That is true success. 8. Silence is the language of the wise. Have you ever noticed? The wisest people speak the least. Look at nature. The sun does not shout, yet it gives life. The moon does not argue, yet it controls the tides. The greatest power does not come from loudness. It comes from presence. If your presence is powerful, you don't need to talk. People will feel it. 9. When you stop explaining, you gain respect. The more you explain yourself, the less people respect you. Why? Because a king does not explain his decisions. A lion does not need to justify his roar. When you stop chasing people, they start chasing you. When you stop proving yourself, people start respecting you. So stop talking, stop explaining, be silent and watch how the world changes. 10. Silence is the art of letting go. And finally, silence is freedom. When you stop wasting words, you stop carrying unnecessary burdens. Not everyone needs to understand you. Not everyone deserves your time. When you let go of the need to explain, you become light, free, peaceful, and that is the real power, when you are no longer controlled by the noise of the world. So today I leave you with this: your words are precious. Do not waste them on people who cannot hear, who do not care, who only drain your energy. Your silence is powerful. Use it as a tool, as a shield, as a weapon. And remember, real power does not come from speaking louder. It comes from being silent and still being heard. There is an old saying, do not cast pearls before swine. What does this mean? It means do not waste something valuable on those who will not appreciate it. Your words, your thoughts, your emotions, these are more valuable than diamonds. Yet every day people throw them away as if they are worthless. They argue, they justify, they plead, they explain to people who do not care, to people who have already made up their minds, to people who do not even deserve a response. Think about it. Imagine you have a beautiful, rare pearl in your hand. It has taken years to form, layer upon layer, deep inside the ocean. It is precious. It is unique. Now imagine you walk to a muddy street where pigs are rolling in the dirt and you toss that pearl into the mud. What will happen? The pigs will not admire it. They will not see its value. They will trample over it, bury it in the dirt and move on as if nothing happened. This is exactly what happens when you waste your words on people who do not deserve them. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been in a situation where someone accuses you of something you didn't do? Maybe at work someone spreads a rumor about you. Maybe in your personal life, someone misunderstands your intentions. And what do? You rush to explain, to clarify, to prove yourself. You spend hours, maybe even days, trying to make them see your side, trying to change their mind. And what happens? Do they suddenly realize they were wrong? Do they apologize? Do they respect you more? No. In most cases, they continue to believe whatever they want. Because the truth is, people do not hear what you say, they hear what they want to hear. If someone has already decided to misunderstand you, no amount of explanation will change their mind. Your words will not reach them. They will fall into the mud and disappear. Now let's look at the other side. Have you ever met someone who does not waste words? Someone who does not rush to explain themselves? Who does not argue? Who does not engage in useless conversations? What do you feel when you see such a person? Respect, power, mystery. A person who speaks only when necessary and whose words carry weight. Such a person commands attention. They do not throw their pearls into the mud. They choose carefully who deserves their words, their time, their energy, and because of this, people listen when they speak. Let me tell you a small story. Once, there was a wise man in a village. People would come to him for advice, and he would always listen patiently. But he rarely spoke. One day, a young man, full of pride and arrogance, came to him and said, "Old man, I have heard you are wise. Let me ask you something. Do you really believe all your silence makes you special? If you are so wise, prove it. Speak to me." The old man simply smiled and said nothing. The young man grew frustrated. He laughed loudly and said, "Maybe you don't know the answer. Maybe you are afraid that if you speak, people will see that you are not as wise as they think." Still, the old man remained silent. After a while, the young man became uncomfortable. His laughter faded. He did not understand why his words had no effect. Finally, unable to take the silence anymore, he bowed his head and walked away. Later, another villager asked the wise man, "Why did you not answer him? You could have put him in his place." The old man smiled and said, "Some people are not looking for answers. They are looking for a reaction. And I do not waste words on those who do not deserve them." How often do we engage in meaningless debates? How often do we try to convince people who are not even listening? How often do we throw our pearls into the mud, hoping that someone will pick them up and admire them? Your words are energy. Every time you speak, you give a piece of yourself. You share your thoughts, your emotions, your life force. And not everyone deserves access to that. Think of the most successful people in the world. Do they go around explaining themselves to everyone? No, because they understand that not everyone is worthy of their time, their energy, their words. They choose carefully. They speak when it matters. And when they do, the word listens. So the next time someone provokes you, the next time someone challenges you, the next time someone tries to pull you into an argument, pause. Ask yourself, is this person worth my words? Will my response change anything? Or am I simply throwing my pearls into the mud? Because in the end, true wisdom is not in speaking more. It is in knowing when to remain silent. There is a strange power in silence, a power that most people fail to understand. We live in a world where everyone is in a rush to speak, to explain, to argue, to prove a point. Words fly everywhere, on social media, in meetings, in relationships. But the truth is, the most powerful statements are often made without a single word. Imagine this, you are in a heated argument. The other person is shouting, accusing, demanding a response. Your mind is racing. You want to defend yourself, to fight back, to make them see your side. But then, instead of speaking, you take a deep breath and remain silent. What happens? The energy shifts. The other person expects resistance, but instead they are met with silence. They don't know what to do. They become uneasy. Suddenly they start questioning themselves. Did they go too far? Did they misunderstand something? Why are you not reacting the way they expected? Silence is not emptiness. Silence is a response. And sometimes it is the most powerful response of all. Take a moment and think. Have you ever been in a situation where someone hurt you deeply? Maybe they betrayed you, insulted you, or disrespected you. Your first instinct was probably to confront them, to demand an explanation, to tell them exactly how they made you feel. But ask yourself, would it have changed anything? Some people do not deserve an explanation. Some people do not deserve your words. And in such moments, your silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Let me tell you a story. There was once a great master known for his deep wisdom. One day, a man came to him full of anger. This man was envious of the master's respect in society. He walked up to the master and in front of a large crowd began insulting him. You are a fraud. You are not wise. You are just pretending. People follow you blindly, but I see the truth. You are nothing but a fool. The crowd waited, expecting the master to reply, but he simply sat there, calm and quiet. He did not react. He did not defend himself. He did not say a single word. The man, seeing no reaction, grew more furious. His insults became louder, more aggressive. Still the master remained silent. After a while, the man became exhausted. His anger faded. He stood there, confused. Then the master finally spoke. If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong? He asked. The man thought for a moment and said, to the one who offered it. The master smiled. Exactly. When someone throws anger, hate, or insults at you, and you do not accept them, they still belong to that person. They do not touch you. They do not affect you. This is the power of silence. Most people believe that silence means defeat. They think that if they do not argue back, they have lost. But the truth is, silence can say more than words ever can. When you stop speaking, people start listening. A mother scolds her child, and the child argues back. What happens? The argument continues, frustration builds, voices rise. But if instead the child lowers their head and remains silent, the mother suddenly feels the weight of her own words. A friend betrays your trust. You can shout at them, accuse them, demand answers. Or you can simply walk away in silence. That silence will echo louder than any angry words ever could. In relationships, in friendships, in conflicts, silence can be more powerful than any speech. It makes people uncomfortable because in silence they are forced to listen to their own words, their own mistakes, their own guilt. Think of the greatest moments in life. When a soldier returns home after years of war and sees his mother, does he speak first or do they embrace in silence? When two lovers sit under the stars, lost in each other's presence, do they need words to express what they feel? When a teacher sees their student succeed, when a father sees his child grow into someone strong and kind, do they need to say anything? Or is the silence filled with everything that words cannot capture? Not all emotions can be spoken, not all feelings can be put into words, and sometimes the deepest conversations happen in complete silence. But silence is not just about emotions, it is also about power. Have you ever seen a truly confident person? They do not rush to prove themselves, they do not argue unnecessarily, they do not explain themselves to those who do not understand. Their silence speaks for them. A lion does not need to roar to prove it is a lion. A storm does not need to announce its arrival. True power is in restraint. It is in knowing that you do not have to respond to everything. You do not have to waste your energy on meaningless arguments. You do not have to prove your worth to those who refuse to see it. So the next time someone insults you, let them talk. The next time someone provokes you, do not react. The next time someone questions your worth, do not waste your words. Let your silence be your answer. Because in the end, words may fade, but silence lingers, silence haunts, silence leaves an impact that no speech ever can. Imagine you are hosting a grand feast. The table is beautifully set, the food is prepared with love, and there is a seat for each guest who truly matters to you. Now, tell me, would you allow just anyone to sit at this table? Would you invite someone who disrespects you? Would you serve food to someone who only takes but never appreciates? Would you let a stranger who mocks your kindness eat from the same plate as someone who cherishes you? No, you wouldn't. Because this table is not just a place to eat. It is a sacred space. It is a reflection of your time, your effort, your love and your energy. And just as you would not let anyone walk into your home and take a seat at your table, you should not let just anyone have access to your life. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Every day we give pieces of ourselves to people who do not deserve them. We invest time in friendships that drain us. We explain ourselves to people who have already decided to misunderstand us. We give love to those who take it for granted. And in doing so, we allow our table to be filled with people who do not belong there. Have you ever had a so-called friend who only reaches out when they need something? At first, you help them because that's who you are. You believe in kindness, in loyalty, in being there for others. But over time, you realize something. They never ask how you are. They never support you. They take and take and take until you are exhausted, until you feel used. Now, imagine that same person sitting at your beautifully set table. They eat the meal you prepared, but they do not thank you. They spill drinks, make a mess, and then leave without cleaning up. They never bring anything to the table. Yet, they expect to be served every time. Would you continue inviting them? Or would you finally realize that not everyone deserves a seat at your table? Life is like this. Your table is your energy, your peace, your time. Not everyone deserves a place at it. Think about relationships. There are people who claim to love you, but they do not respect you. They demand your attention, your loyalty, your sacrifices. But when it is time for them to give, they disappear. They make excuses. They leave you feeling unworthy, unloved, unappreciated. Ask yourself, why do you keep allowing them a seat at your table? The truth is, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. If you continue to entertain those who disrespect you, they will never change. They will keep taking because they know you will keep giving. They will keep hurting you because they know you will always forgive. At some point you must decide who belongs at my table, who deserves my energy, who respects my time. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who always opened his home to guests. He believed in generosity, in sharing, in giving people a place at his table. But one day, an old friend came to visit. This friend had betrayed him in the past, spoken badly about him, and never once apologized. Yet, he still expected a warm welcome. The man for the first time did something different. He did not open the door. His friend was shocked. "Why won't you let me in?" he asked. The man replied, "Because this is my home and I decide who is welcome at my table. And you, my friend, have already proven that you do not value your seat. This is not about being cruel. This is not about revenge. This is about self-respect, about knowing your worth, about protecting your space, your peace, your happiness. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people will drain you. Some will betray you. Some will pretend to be your friend only to stab you in the back when it benefits them. And the more you allow them in, the more they will take. But here's the secret. You have the power to choose. You decide who gets access to your life. You decide who sits at your table. You decide who is worthy of your time. And if someone does not value you, if someone does not respect your kindness, if someone does not contribute to your peace, then it is okay to say your seat is no longer available. Because the truth is, when you remove the wrong people from your life, you make space for the right ones. When you stop giving your energy to those who only take, you attract those who truly appreciate you. Your table is not meant for everyone. It is meant for those who respect the invitation, who value the space, who bring love, kindness and gratitude. So today, take a moment and look around your life. Who is sitting at your table? And more importantly, do they deserve to be there? There is a common belief that strength is proven by standing your ground, by fighting back, by never giving up. Society teaches us that if we walk away from a battle, we are weak, that giving up is failure. But that is not always true. Some battles are not meant to be fought. Some battles drain us, break us, and pull us into a cycle of endless conflict. And in those moments, walking away is not weakness, it is wisdom. Imagine you are standing in front of a fire. The flames are raging, fueled by anger, hatred, and pride. Someone is on the other side, shouting at you, provoking you, daring you to step forward into the fire. Your instinct tells you to fight back, to prove yourself, to defend your honor. But the moment you step into the flames, you burn. No matter how strong you are, no matter how prepared you feel, the fire will consume you. Now, ask yourself, is the battle worth the burns? Life presents us with many battles. Some are worth fighting. Battles for justice, for love, for dreams. But many battles are traps. They are distractions. They are illusions that trick us into believing we must engage when in reality the best thing we can do is walk away. Think about toxic relationships. Maybe it's a friend who constantly disrespects you. Maybe it's a partner who drains your energy. Every conversation turns into an argument. Every small issue explodes into a war. You find yourself exhausted, over-explaining, defending yourself over and over again. You stay because you think if you fight hard enough, they will change. That if you just say the right words, they will finally understand you. But they don't. And they won't. Because some people do not listen to understand, they listen to argue. Some people do not want peace, they thrive in chaos. And the longer you stay in that battle, the more you lose your peace, your energy, your happiness. What if instead of fighting, you simply walked away? What if instead of proving yourself, you chose your own peace? Let me tell you a story. There was once a wise old samurai, known for his incredible skill and wisdom. One day, a young warrior approached him full of arrogance. This warrior had made a name for himself by provoking people into fights and defeating them. He insulted the samurai, mocked him, and tried to anger him. The old samurai remained still, silent. The young warrior grew frustrated. He shouted louder, threw more insults, trying to get a reaction. But still, the samurai did nothing. Eventually, the young warrior, exhausted and embarrassed, walked away. The samurai students were confused. They asked, "Master, why did you not fight back? You could have easily defeated him." The samurai smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" One student replied, "To the person who offered it." The samurai nodded. The same is true for anger, insults and hatred. If you do not accept them, they remain with the one who gives them. This is the power of walking away. When someone insults you, they expect a reaction. When someone argues with you, they want engagement. When someone tries to drag you into their negativity, they want to pull you into their storm. But if you do not step into their fire, they burn alone. Think about arguments you've had in the past. Have you ever won an argument by shouting louder? Has anyone ever truly changed their mind because you proved them wrong? Or did it only leave you feeling drained, frustrated and empty? Some battles do not need to be won, they need to be left behind. Walking away does not mean you are weak. It means you are strong enough to choose yourself. It means you value your energy, your peace, your mental well-being. It means you understand that not every fight deserves your attention. Have you ever seen a lion react to the barking of a dog? No, because the lion knows its power. It does not need to prove itself. It does not lower itself to fight a battle that does not matter. You too are not meant to fight every battle. You do not have to respond to every insult. You do not have to engage in every argument. You do not have to defend yourself to those who refuse to see your worth. Because sometimes true victory is found not in fighting, but in walking away with your head held high. So the next time someone tries to pull you into negativity, pause. Ask yourself, is this battle worth my energy? Will winning this argument truly bring me peace? Or is my real power in walking away? Because in the end, some battles are won not by fighting but by refusing to be part of the war. There is something deeply ingrained in human nature, the need to be right, the need to prove our point, to win the argument, to make others see things the way we do. We believe that if we explain enough, argue enough, or fight hard enough, people will finally understand us, respect us, and acknowledge that we were right all along. But at what cost? How many times have you won an argument but lost your peace? How many times have you proven someone wrong only to walk away feeling drained, frustrated, or even guilty? How many relationships have been damaged? How many moments have been ruined? All because we valued being right more than we valued peace. The truth is, peace is more valuable than being right. You don't have to win every argument. You don't have to respond to every insult. You don't have to prove yourself to people who are not willing to see beyond their own perspective. Because in the end, being right will not always bring you happiness, but peace will. Imagine you are holding a rope, and on the other end is someone pulling as hard as they can. The more they pull, the more you feel the tension, the strain, the pain in your hands. You can pull back with all your strength, trying to prove that you are stronger, that you are right. But at what cost? The more you pull, the more you suffer. Now, what happens if you simply let go of the rope? The struggle ends, the pain stops, you are free. This is what happens when you choose peace over being right. You let go of the unnecessary battles. You stop trying to change people who do not want to change. You walk away from arguments that serve no real purpose. And in doing so, you find freedom. Let me tell you a story. There was once a wise teacher who had two students who were always arguing. One day he handed them a small white stone and asked, "What color is this?" "White," they both said. Then he turned the stone around, revealing that the other side was black. He smiled and asked, "What color is the stone now?" "Black," they both replied. The teacher nodded and said, "You see, you were both right. But when you only look from your own side, you believe the other person is wrong. If you refuse to see another perspective, you will argue forever. But if you value understanding more than proving your point, you will find peace." This is how life works. We get caught up in arguments where both sides believe they are right. We refuse to see another point of view. We hold on to our pride, convinced that winning the argument will bring us satisfaction. But what do we really gain? Think about the last argument you had with a loved one. Maybe it was about something small, a misunderstanding, a forgotten chore, a difference in opinion. You may have won the argument, but did it strengthen your relationship? Did proving yourself right bring more love, more connection, more peace, or did it create distance? Now think about the times when you chose peace instead, when you let go of the need to be right, when you simply listened, when you chose to walk away instead of fight. How did that feel? The moments of greatest peace in life are not the moments when we have proven others wrong. They are the moments when we have let go of the need to prove anything at all. Because peace is not found in dominance. It is found in understanding, in kindness, in knowing that not every battle is worth fighting. There is a saying, you do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. Some arguments are like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. The more you try to prove your point, the more frustrated you become. But when you step back, when you let go, when you walk away, you find yourself standing on solid ground. This does not mean you should never speak up. It does not mean you should never stand for what you believe in. But it does mean you should choose your battles wisely. Not every situation requires a response. Not every person deserves an argument. Not every opinion needs to be challenged. Because in the end, a peaceful heart is far more valuable than a victorious ego. So the next time you find yourself in the middle of an argument, ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be at peace? Because the truth is, peace is not something you win, it is something you choose. There is a reason why the wisest people in the world speak the least. They do not waste their breath on meaningless words, nor do they speak just to be heard. They understand the power of silence. They know that true wisdom does not come from endless talking, but from deep listening, careful observation, and the ability to remain quiet when words would only cause more noise. Silence is not emptiness, it is not weakness. It is a force, a language that speaks louder than any words ever could. In silence, there is depth, there is clarity, and there is understanding. But in today's world, silence is misunderstood. People equate talking with intelligence. They believe that those who speak the loudest must know the most. But have you ever noticed that the ones who constantly talk, who always have something to say, who never pause to listen, are often the ones who understand the least? A wise person does not rush to speak. They observe, they reflect, and they speak only when necessary. They know that every word carries weight, and once spoken, it cannot be taken back. Imagine a man who walks into a room full of people arguing. Everyone is shouting over each other, trying to prove their point. But in the middle of the chaos, there is one person sitting quietly, watching, listening. He does not rush to add his voice to the noise. He waits. And when he finally speaks, everyone stops. Because they know, when a truly wise person speaks, every word matters. This is the power of silence. Let me tell you a story. There was once a great master known for his wisdom. One day, a young man came to him and said, "I want to be wise like you. Teach me how to speak so that people listen." The master smiled and took the young man to a river. They sat by the water in silence for a long time. The young man grew impatient. "Master," he said, "I asked you to teach me how to speak wisely, but you are saying nothing." The master picked up a stone and dropped it into the river. The young man watched as the ripples spread across the water. Then the master said, "Watch the river. It flows effortlessly, yet it shapes everything around it. It does not argue with the rocks in its path. It does not shout, yet it moves mountains over time." True wisdom is like this river. Powerful, yet silent. It speaks not through noise but through action, through presence, through patience. The young man understood. Silence is not just the absence of words. It is the presence of awareness. In silence, we learn. In silence, we observe. In silence, we discover truths that are hidden in the noise of the world. Think about the times when you have been in deep thought, when you have been completely still, listening to your own mind. Those moments of silence often bring the greatest realizations. Answers that seemed impossible suddenly become clear. The chaos of life begins to make sense. Now think about how often people waste their words. Arguments that go nowhere, gossip that serves no purpose, complaints that change nothing, words spoken in anger that later bring regret. How many of these could be avoided with silence? A wise person does not react to everything. They do not argue with fools. They do not waste their breath trying to prove a point to those who are not willing to listen. They know that silence is often the best response. There is another story about the great Buddha. One day, a man came to him and began insulting him. He called him names, tried to provoke him, but Buddha remained silent. After a while, the man grew tired and left. A disciple, confused, asked Buddha, "Why did you not respond? Why did you allow him to insult you?" Buddha smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The disciple replied, "To the one who offered it." Buddha nodded. The same is true for words. If I do not accept his anger, it remains his, not mine. This is the power of silence. It protects your peace, keeps you above meaningless conflict. It allows you to walk away from negativity without carrying it with you. In today's world, where everyone wants to talk, where people fight to be heard, where silence is often mistaken for weakness, choosing silence is a sign of strength. The next time you are about to speak, pause. Ask yourself, is what I am about to say necessary? Will it add value? Will it bring peace? Because the wisest people do not speak the most. They speak the least. But when they do, their words have the power to change everything. Silence is the language of the wise, and those who master it, master life. Every morning when you wake up, you are given a certain amount of energy, just like a battery that starts at 100%. Throughout the day, everything you do, every conversation, every thought, every action uses up that energy. Some things recharge you, but many things drain you. And if you are not careful about how you spend your energy, you will find yourself exhausted, depleted, and frustrated. with nothing left for the things that truly matter. Yet, most people go through life as if their energy is unlimited. They waste it on meaningless arguments, on trying to please people who will never be satisfied, on worrying about things they cannot change. They spend hours overthinking, holding on to grudges, engaging in negativity, and chasing after people who do not value them. And by the time they realize it, their energy is gone, wasted on things that do not serve. But the truth is, your energy is one of the most valuable things you have, and how you choose to spend it will determine the quality of your life. Imagine you are carrying a bucket of water. This water represents your energy. Every time you give your attention to something, you pour a little out. If you spend your time on things that drain you, your bucket will be empty before you even reach the people and dreams that truly deserve your energy. Think about the conversations you have. Some people bring peace, joy, and inspiration into your life. They make you feel uplifted, supported, and motivated. These are the people who fill your bucket. But then there are people who drain you, those who always complain, always bring negativity, always demand your time without ever giving anything in return. These people leave you feeling exhausted, frustrated, and emotionally drained. Every interaction with them is like a hole in your bucket, leaking your precious energy. Now ask yourself, who are you spending your energy on? Are you giving it to people who nourish you or to those who deplete you? It's not just people, it's also your thoughts. Overthinking is one of the biggest energy thieves. Have you ever found yourself replaying an argument in your head, thinking about what you should have said, what you should have done differently? Hours pass and nothing changes except that you feel more drained, more anxious. The past cannot be changed, the future is not yet here, but your energy, that is real. And every moment you spend worrying about things you cannot control is energy wasted. Let me tell you a story. A wise man once met a young man who was constantly tired and frustrated. The young man said, "I do everything I can. I help people, I try to solve every problem, I argue when I need to, but at the end of the day, I feel empty. I don't understand why." The wise man handed him a bowl full of water and said, "Walk around this village with this bowl, but be careful. Do not spill a single drop." The young man did as he was told. He walked carefully, focused only on the bowl, making sure not to spill the water. When he returned, the wise man asked, "Tell me, did you hear the people gossiping in the streets?" The young man shook his head. "No, I was too focused on the bowl." "Did you notice the man who insulted you?" Again, the young man shook his head. "No, I did not pay attention." The wise man smiled. You see, when you focus on what truly matters, all the distractions, all the negativity, all the unnecessary battles become meaningless. The same is true in life. If you protect your energy like you protected that water, you will stop wasting it on things that do not deserve it. This is the secret. Your energy is limited, and what you focus on will determine how you feel, how you live, and who you become. Think about how much energy people waste trying to prove themselves to others, arguing with strangers on the internet, trying to change the opinions of people who refuse to listen, explaining themselves over and over to those who have already made up their minds. Is it worth it? There is a reason why the most successful and peaceful people do not engage in every fight, do not react to every insult, and do not allow negativity to consume them. They understand that their energy is too precious to waste. If you want a fulfilling life, you must learn to spend your energy wisely. Give it to the people who appreciate you, invest it in things that bring you joy, protect it from negativity, from unnecessary drama, from situations that do not deserve your attention. Because at the end of the day, you only have so much energy, and when it is gone, it is gone. Make sure you are spending it on something that truly matters. There is an old saying, never argue with a fool, for they will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. In life, you will encounter many kinds of people. Some will be wise, open-minded, and eager to learn. Others will be fools. Those who refuse to listen, who argue for the sake of arguing, who speak not to understand but only to be heard. And if you are not careful, you will waste your precious time and energy engaging with people who do not deserve your words. Fools do not listen, they do not reflect, they do not grow, they argue, they provoke, they create chaos, because that is all they know. When you try to reason with them, you are not educating them, you are only feeding their desire for conflict. Now, imagine you are walking through a market and a parrot in a cage starts screaming at you. It shouts nonsense, makes loud noises, tries to get your attention. Would you stop and argue with the parrot? Would you explain to the parrot why it is wrong, why it should be quiet, why its words do not make sense? Of course not. You would simply walk away. Yet, when a fool shouts insults, spreads lies, or tries to provoke us, we react. We explain ourselves. We defend our honor. We argue back, believing that if we just say the right thing, they will understand. But they won't. They do not seek truth. They seek noise. Silence is the best answer to a fool. Think about the times when someone tried to provoke you. Maybe they insulted you, spread rumors about you, or tried to pull you into an argument. Your instinct was to respond, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But what happened? Did they stop? Did they suddenly realize their mistake? Or did they continue enjoying the attention, feeding off your reaction? Fools thrive on reaction. They want to see you frustrated, angry, defensive. Because the moment you engage, they feel powerful. But when you give them silence, you take away their power. Let me tell you a story. There was once a great king who was known for his wisdom and patience. One day, a man came to his court and began insulting him. He called the king names, questioned his leadership, and tried to humiliate him in front of everyone. The king remained silent. He did not respond, did not argue, did not show anger. After a while, the man grew tired and left. A minister, confused by the king's reaction, asked, "Your Majesty, why did you not defend yourself? Why did you allow him to insult you?" The king smiled and said, "If someone offers you a rotten fruit and you do not accept it, to whom does the fruit belong?" The minister replied, "To the one who offered it." The king nodded. The same is true for insults and foolishness. If I do not accept his words, they remain his burden, not mine. This is the wisdom of silence. When someone insults you and you respond, you are accepting their negativity into your life. When someone argues foolishly and you engage, you are stepping into their chaos. But when you stay silent, you leave them with their own noise. Silence is not weakness. It is not avoidance. It is the ultimate display of self-control. A wise person does not waste words on those who will never understand. They do not waste energy on those who only seek to provoke. They know that their peace is worth more than proving a point to someone who refuses to listen. Think about a candle. When placed in a dark room, it brings light. But if you take that same candle and place it in the middle of a storm, the wind will blow it out. Your words are like that candle. They have value when used in the right place, with the right people, in the right situation. But when wasted on fools, they are blown away, leaving nothing but exhaustion and frustration. So the next time someone tries to pull you into a meaningless argument, remember, not every battle is worth fighting. Not every insult needs a response. Not every fool deserves your words. Sometimes the greatest power is found in silence. Because when you refuse to engage with a fool, they are left arguing with themselves. And nothing frustrates a fool more than being ignored. There is something deeply exhausting about constantly explaining yourself, trying to make others understand your choices, justifying your actions, proving your worth. It can drain your energy, steal your peace, and leave you feeling frustrated. But here's the truth. When you stop explaining, you gain respect. People who truly understand you do not need explanations. And people who demand explanations will often never be satisfied, no matter how much you explain. Some people question you not because they want to understand, but because they want to challenge you, doubt you, or make you second guess yourself. Think about a tree standing tall in a storm. The wind howls, the rain beats against its leaves, but the tree does not explain itself. It does not try to convince the storm that it deserves to stand. It simply stands. It knows its roots are deep, its foundation is strong, and it does not need to prove its existence. The same applies to life. When you keep explaining yourself, you are handing over your power. You are allowing others to control your decisions, to shape your actions based on their approval. But when you stop explaining, you send a powerful message. I do not need your validation to be who I am. Let me tell you a story. A young man once decided to leave his secure corporate job to start his own business. His family and friends questioned him endlessly. Why would you leave a stable job? What if you fail? Are you sure this is the right decision? At first he explained himself. He told them about his dreams, his plans, his vision. But no matter what he said, they kept questioning him. They doubted him. They tried to convince him that he was making a mistake. One day he realized something. No matter how much he explained, they would never see what he saw. So he stopped explaining. He simply worked in silence. He focused on his goal. Years later, when he had built a successful business, the same people who doubted him now admired him. They respected his journey, not because he had explained himself, but because he had proven himself through action. This is the power of silence. When you stop explaining, you shift your focus from trying to convince others to simply living your truth. You stop wasting energy on people who will never understand, and instead you channel that energy into becoming stronger, wiser, and more successful. The greatest leaders, the most influential figures in history did not waste their time explaining themselves. They did not seek approval. They simply did what they believed in, and the world followed. Look at nature. Does the sun explain why it shines? Does the river justify why it flows? Does the eagle give reasons for why it flies high? No. They simply exist in their full power without seeking permission. The next time someone questions your choices, pause. Ask yourself, do I owe them an explanation? If someone genuinely cares, if they truly seek to understand, then yes, explain if you wish. But if someone is questioning you only to challenge you, only to doubt you, only to make you feel small, then your silence is the best response. Because when you stop explaining, something incredible happens. People start respecting you. They see that you are confident in your path, that you do not need approval, that you stand firm in your choices. And that kind of quiet confidence is far more powerful than 1,000 words. There is an art to letting go. It is not something that comes easily. It requires strength, wisdom, and above all, the ability to embrace silence. When we think of letting go, we often imagine physically walking away from something. A toxic relationship, a painful past, an argument that is going nowhere. But true letting go is much deeper than that. It is not just about leaving. It is about releasing the hold that something has on you, within you. And silence is the most powerful way to do that. Silence is not just the absence of words. It is the presence of peace. When you choose silence over unnecessary explanations, over meaningless arguments, over the urge to prove yourself, you are not just being quiet, you are setting yourself free. Imagine carrying a heavy bag on your shoulders. With each step, the weight drags you down. You feel exhausted, yet you refuse to put it down because you think you need to carry it. But the moment you drop it, the relief is immediate. You can breathe, you can move freely, you feel lighter. This is what silence does for the soul. It allows you to put down the weight of unnecessary battles, of words that do not need to be spoken, of pain that no longer serves you. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who was deeply hurt by a friend's betrayal. Every day he thought about it, replaying the conversations in his mind, wondering why it happened, what he could have said differently, how he could make the other person see their mistake. He wanted closure, he wanted justice. He wanted to make them understand how much pain they had caused him. One day he went to a wise old monk and asked, "How do I let go of this pain? How do I stop feeling angry?" The monk handed him a cup of tea and said, "Hold this cup tightly." The man did as he was told. Then the monk poured boiling water into the cup. The man screamed in pain and immediately dropped the cup. The monk smiled and said, "You see, you let go the moment you felt the pain was too much. Why not do the same with your burdens? Why hold on until they burn you completely?" The man understood. Letting go is not something that happens when the other person apologizes, or when justice is served, or when the situation changes. Letting go happens the moment you decide that your peace is worth more than your attachment to the past. And silence is the key to that. When you stop talking about what hurt you, when you stop explaining, when you stop trying to make others see your pain, you reclaim your energy. You take back your power. Have you ever noticed that people who are truly at peace rarely talk about their past struggles? It is not because they never suffered. It is because they have made peace with it. They do not need to revisit it. They do not need to seek validation or justice through words. They have let go. Now think about the times you have held on to something, an argument, a grudge, a regret. Did talking about it endlessly ever make it better? Or did it just keep you stuck in the same loop, replaying the pain over and over again? Silence is not weakness. It does not mean you do not care. It means you care about yourself enough to not let the past control your present. When someone insults you, silence lets it pass. When someone doubts you, silence allows your actions to speak for you. When something painful happens, silence gives you the space to heal. Because silence is not emptiness. It is a space where wisdom grows, where peace settles, where the past fades away and the future becomes clear. So the next time you feel the weight of something, you need to let go. Do not argue, do not explain, do not fight, just be silent. And in that silence, you will find the strength to finally set yourself free. Letting go is not an event. It is a process, a journey, a quiet transformation that happens within. It is not about forgetting what happened or pretending it did not hurt. It is about accepting that you cannot change the past, but you can change how it lives inside you. So often we hold on to things that no longer serve us. Resentment, grudges, old wounds, past mistakes, because we believe that if we keep thinking about them, keep talking about them, somehow we will find closure. We believe that if we can just explain our side one more time, make someone understand, prove we were right, or receive the apology we never got, then we will finally be able to move on. But the truth is, closure is not something that comes from others. It is something you give yourself. And that closure, that healing, does not come from talking endlessly about the past. It comes from choosing silence. It comes from giving silence, from choosing to let go. There is a saying, you cannot heal in the same place that hurt you. This does not only apply to physical places, it applies to mental and emotional spaces too. As long as you keep revisiting what broke you, as long as you keep engaging in the same conversations that drain you, as long as you keep looking for validation from those who will never give it, you will remain stuck. Letting go through silence is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing peace over chaos, choosing wisdom over ego, choosing freedom over attachment. There will be moments when your silence is misunderstood. People may think you do not care. They may accuse you of giving up. They may wonder why you are no longer reacting. But that is their misunderstanding to carry, not yours. You are not responsible for making others understand why you have chosen peace. You are only responsible for protecting it. Silence is a choice, a powerful, intentional, and life-changing choice. It is the choice to stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. It is the choice to stop revisiting the past and start embracing the present. It is the choice to stop reacting to negativity and start preserving your energy. It is the choice to stop carrying what is too heavy and finally put it down. Letting go is an act of self-respect. It is you saying to yourself, I deserve peace. I deserve to move forward. I deserve to be free. And when you choose silence, when you let go without a word, you give yourself the greatest gift, the ability to finally move on, without the weight of the past pulling you back. So if there is something in your life right now that is heavy on your heart, an old wound, an argument, an expectation, a disappointment, ask yourself, is holding on helping me, or is it only hurting me? And if it is hurting you, if it is draining your energy, if it is stealing your joy, release it in silence. No long explanations, no fights, no seeking validation. Just breathe, let go, move forward, and watch how the weight lifts. Watch how your peace returns. Watch how life opens up in ways you never expected. Because when you finally master the art of letting go through silence, you are no longer a prisoner of your past. You become the architect of your future.